What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Tell Me Why Chapter 3. So this is kind of different from what I would normally do, and I understand, even at the time this video is first going up, Tell Me Why Chapter 3 is releasing in just 2 days. So this video is going to get pretty old pretty darn fast, so I really do appreciate anybody watching this. I wanted to have a fun little theory video talking about where I think Chapter 3 could go, kind of the conclusion of this game. It's not a game that I think is the greatest game of all time, but it's definitely been a surprise, and honestly, the mystery of it, if you guys have watched the reviews I've done of this game, the mystery of what happened to, the mom has been really, really solid. I think actually a really, really good job by them in the best part of this game. So I am going to take a little bit of what my wife had told me. So my wife kind of pitched me the idea of what could happen in Chapter 3, so I wanted to give her credit. She's not on the channel or anything like that. She does do live streams with me, but I do want to give her credit there. So really, here's the deal. We kind of have to break down a couple different things. And I do agree with her, and I do think a lot of this stuff is going to happen. Don't Nod could definitely, by the way, pull a 180 and do something really, really wacky. That would be totally cool. In fact, they could even do something as crazy as like connecting it to like a Life is Strange universe, which I think would actually be really, really cool. Something that I really don't think they would do, but something that, considering this game does have powers, and we know Sean and we know Max has powers as well, it's not impossible. That's not what I'm talking about in this video. But here's the deal. Firstly, I do not think the father is Sam, although it could be. I think that maybe is a bit too easy. Now, if they wanted to make it easy on us, they could do something like that, where it's just very simple that is actually their dad. However, the hooded figure, person that you see, I don't know, to me just looks too kind of scrawny to be the dad. You know what I mean? It could be a character we've never seen before, and you could say, well, Alex, you're going to make a video like this and not tell us who you think the dad is. Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know who the dad is, but let me tell you, I think it could end up becoming something where it doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? Where the dad, honestly, it doesn't really matter that, because I think the bigger mystery that this game is trying to do to us is, okay, what's going on with their powers, and then literally, like, emotionally with when the mom died, like, how can they tie all that together? So what do I mean by that? Well, what we find out in the second game is it seems like their powers of being able to speak to each other, even their powers of remembering, could very well be broken. Like, it is real and they are experiencing it, but we have to actually choose multiple times who we're believing. So the memories are not perfect. In fact, if you even go along that line of thinking, really, even the choice that I made, or I made, you guys made, that could be the wrong choice. In fact, it could actually be neither of the choices. Maybe it's a combination of the two that the game never even does. So that is a little bit flawed. And then even we see they're kind of projecting when they can kind of talk to each other in their heads. They can kind of bring up things that was said before. So remember at the end of Chapter 2, Tyler tells Allison basically the line that he told Eddie, that you need to take responsibility, like your responsibility for like the part you played. Now again, that's what he told Eddie earlier, but then he projected it to Allison, but he said like, hey, I didn't say that, that was me, a couple hours ago, which is kind of weird. And like, maybe we can even take it as maybe he was even lying, like maybe he was kind of just upset at her and said like, hey, you killed her, or we believe you killed her, so you need to take her. You know what I mean? So it is possible that actually it is exactly just how it seems, that he maybe was angry at Allison in that moment, and he said that to her, and then he's lying and saying that. But what we get at the very end of the game in that kind of flashback, when we see what happens in the moment, when we see, Marianne talking to the hooded figure, to the father, and them hearing, and you hear that, or that Allison hears the mom say that she'll kill, that she'll kill the dad if he ever comes back there. And now we know that that's what she thought the mom said to Tyler the day that all of that stuff happened. So that's very odd. And the thing with that is, was she imagining that part? So here's how I think it all plays out. I think I'm going to take some from my wife, some from me. The Mad Hunter, that guy, the kind of like the fabled projection of their mind, that is the father. I don't know if he actually burst into the house that one day, although he very well could have, and maybe the mom got scared in that way. But I think that that's what was going on, that he was on their property. I don't think he was there to kill, Allison or Tyler. I think he was just there. And the mom was going to hunt him down. I think Tyler probably scared her when he, approached her and said, hey, I cut my hair. He was going to say, hey, I cut my hair. I think he scared her. Obviously, she was loading the gun, right? She was getting ready. And then she started chasing him. Now, that part I think is all actually real. I think that's what actually happened. But in reality, I think that she was just trying, and I really, honestly, I kind of thought this even in the first chapter, where it's like, well, what if she was just like running after him, like to tell him something or to protect him from something, right? And now I think as we're starting to piece the puzzle together, I think that's exactly what happens. I think that she gets startled by him for sure, but in all reality, she's running after him to say, hey, this lunatic, your father, is on on our property, and I need you to get inside, or I need, whatever. And then now Allison, this is where again it gets a little messy. Is it possible that Allison goes out there, she sees it all playing out, and then she plays again the line that the mom said to the father? Does she play that out loud so both Tyler and her hear that? Because the thing you got to remember is Tyler heard it too. Tyler was very convinced for however many years, right, in between the flashback and when the game's actually taking place. They were both convinced that the mom was going to kill him, not just because she was running with a gun in his general direction, which, by the way, is something that you probably should maybe put the gun down. Although I do get it, because the father's around, maybe he has a gun, right? Maybe you're scared. So I get why she did it, but in general, you probably shouldn't do that. But that's reason number one. But reason number two is they both heard her say that she was going to kill him, right? And kind of all piecing it together, they also thought, right, that she wasn't okay with the transition. Now everything's kind of coming together. Again, it's very possible that Allison played the projection of the mom's voice saying, I'm going to kill you, not even necessarily out loud. She probably played it in her head and in Tyler's head, and they both thought it was happening like in the real moment. You know what I mean? In the real moment with the mom, and then there's obviously where Allison stabbed her. Now, that's how I think that all played out, so I don't think the mom was obviously going to do anything. I think that, yeah, there probably is something broken about their powers that they're going to realize. Now, how do you tie it together all in a nice package to make everybody feel good? Well, that I think redeems the mom, right? Because the mom was okay with the transition. She was trying to help. Yeah, she turned her back on everything, and she kind of ran out of good faith things with all the town. I mean, she isn't a great person, but in general, to kind of redeem her character, at least to her children, I think doing something like that, it's like, okay, she was fine with Tyler. She actually was not going to go, kill him. She was actually going to protect him from the father, which maybe it is Sam, maybe it's just some random guy who's just a really, really bad guy, whatever the reason is. But that's how you, I think, redeem her. And then how do you redeem Allison? Because now you made Allison seem like literally like a psychopath. Like she literally creates voices out of her head. She killed her mother, all this stuff. How do you fix that? Well, it's not a perfect fix, but I think the easiest thing to do is just say that the father drowned the mother, drowned Marianne, because what we know is she died from the oxygen, from not being able to breathe. So she died of drowning in the water. She did not die from the scissors. And I believe even at the ending of chapter 2, she says like it's gonna be okay. You know what I mean? Or like it's not that bad. So like she gets stabbed, but at the same, and you could even, I mean, this is kind of like a real. I'm not suggesting to do this, but I think we can all kind of make the assumption on our own that if you stab somebody in the back with a pair of scissors, unless they're the sharpest scissors or the longest scissors in all of creation, I don't think you're actually going to end their life by doing it, right? She falls in the water. Now, did she get knocked out and did she just drown? Yes, and that is, again, that actually is possible. Maybe they do that, and then they say, well, you know what? I mean, technically, inadvertently, Allison was in charge. Maybe that's how you can do like a little switcheroo where nobody's really expecting it. However, we know because of the boat, or that little small ship that the dad was on, that he does kind of like, I don't know, patrol those waters, right? So I think it's very, very easy for him to have been circling the area, well, actually, we know, right, because he was in the area, so maybe he saw that happening. He got in his little boat, and then when Tyler and Allison were running away to call the cops, he went and he drowned, Marianne in the water. So I think that is a way that if you want a overall happy ending, if that's something that they're going for with this game, Don't Nod, I think that's probably what you do. Again, you redeem the mom, and then also now you've kind of made it not necessarily okay with Allison because they still completely misinterpreted all the stuff going on when they were a kid. They were children, I get it, but at the same time, they were, I think, also kind of bad kids just in general, but they also just completely, again, they misinterpreted how the mom was reacting. So it's not perfect. Tyler and Allison are still kind of bad children, especially actually kind of Allison, considering she stabbed her mom for really no good reason. But I think in general, to kind of put her mind at ease, you can say, okay, well, technically, you didn't kill her. I mean, you put her in the water weakened when you probably shouldn't have done that, but it was actually the father who drowned her. Okay, so I think that's probably, and then I assume we're going to find it out. If it's Sam, it's Sam. If it's somebody else, it's somebody else. I feel like it could be Sam, considering he wanted the box underneath the garage or barn or whatever you want to call it, and they had to break in, and we know Sam had to give his keys to them, the keys to the house and the keys to the barn. But the question is, why wouldn't he have just taken? That's a thing that I actually didn't even think of until right now. If it is him, why didn't he just remove the box with the incriminating evidence against him? Why wouldn't he have just removed that at any point over the last however many years had gone by? Why wouldn't you have done it then? Why would you wait until Tyler and Allison are back in your area to do it? And again, I just don't think the hooded figure seems a little bit too small and kind of skinny. Seems a bit too much like that to actually be doing anything. Maybe it's Tom. Maybe it's the guy who's running for mayor, the store owner. Something very, very random. I don't really have any good evidence for that, but I feel like they should and probably will do something a little bit off the board at some point, and maybe the father figure is one of them. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think's going on with this game? How do you think it'll end? Who do you think the father is? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. I'm going to be playing Chapter 3. I'll be reviewing it. We'll be talking a little bit more about the game after that's all done. So Friday, Saturday, somewhere in that range, there'll definitely be more Tell Me Why videos. Again, I know these videos don't do all that well. Definitely a smaller game. It's definitely a smaller game. But I really do appreciate all of you guys watching these videos. It means a lot to me. So thank you all for watching. I hope to see you on the next Tell Me Why video.